The air in the mine tasted like metal and despair. Hana wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand, leaving a streak of gray dust across her skin. The drilling machine in her hands vibrated so hard her bones ached. She had been working for 12 hours straight, 6 more hours to go before the shift ended. Around her, hundreds of other humans moved like shadows in the dim light. No one spoke. Speaking while working meant punishment. The Vortons did not like noise from their workers. They said humans sounded like animals when they talked. Better to stay quiet. Better to survive. Hana was 17 years old. Though she was not sure of the exact date, birthdays did not matter in the minds of Kolvar 7. What mattered was how much tritium you pulled from the rock each day. What mattered was not angering the overseers. What mattered was making it back to the sleep quarters alive. The mine shaft stretched deep into the planet's crust. The walls were dark stone, ancient and cold. Sometimes, Hana wondered what this world looked like on the surface. She had never seen it. She was born in the lower levels, in the human breeding quarters. Her mother died when she was 6. Her father, she never knew, but she had Do-hyun, her older brother. He was 24 and worked as a supervisor in Tunnel 7. The Vortons picked certain humans to watch over the others. Do-hyun hated the job, but he took it anyway. It meant better food rations. It meant he could sometimes protect Hana when she got in trouble. The drilling machine suddenly hit something different. The vibration changed. Hana stopped and pulled the drill back. There was a hole in the wall, maybe half a meter wide. Strange. The rock here should have been solid. She looked around. The nearest overseer was 3 tunnels away, his tall reptilian form hunched over a data pad. Hana made a quick decision. She turned off her drill and leaned closer to the hole. Cool air came from inside. How was that possible? She reached in carefully, expecting to touch more rock. Instead, her fingers found empty space. A hidden chamber. Her heart beat faster. She should report this. Hidden spaces could mean structural problems. But something made her hesitate. She pulled out her small work light and shined it into the hole. The light revealed walls covered in marks. Not natural cracks or mineral veins. These were deliberate. Carved. Symbols. Hana's breath caught. She knew what symbols meant. They said humans were never civilized. Just primitive creatures, lucky to be given purpose through work. But these symbols existed. Someone carved them, someone human. She traced one with her finger. It felt warm under her touch, though that made no sense. Rock did not hold heat in these deep tunnels. The symbol looked like a circle, with lines radiating outward. Like a sun. Like something trying to break free. Girl. Step away from there. Hana jerked back. An old man stood behind her. His name was Jinwoo. Everyone called him grandfather, though he was probably not related to anyone in the mines. He was ancient by human standards, maybe 60 years old. His face looked like crumpled paper, and his hands shook constantly. I was just drilling and I found. I know what you found. Jinwoo's voice was barely a whisper. Cover it. Now. Before they see. Hana wanted to argue, but something in the old man's eyes stopped her. Fear. Real fear. She grabbed her drill and quickly collapsed part of the tunnel wall to hide the hole. Dust filled the air. When it cleared, the symbols were hidden again. Jinwoo nodded slowly. Good. Smart girl. Now keep working. Act normal. But Hana could not act normal. Her mind raced with questions. That night, in the sleep quarters, she lay on her thin mat and stared at the ceiling. Around her, 50 other workers slept in the same room. The Vortons did not believe in privacy for humans. They did not believe humans needed much of anything except work and basic food. Someone touched her shoulder. She turned her head. Jinwoo knelt beside her mat. This close, she could see scars all over his arms. Old scars. The kind from punishment whips, Follow me, he whispered. Quietly, Hana followed him through the dark quarters to a small maintenance closet. It was barely big enough for 2 people. Jinwoo closed the door and turned on a tiny light. What you found today, he said. You need to forget it. What were those symbols? Dangerous. That's what they are. But who made them? Why? Jinwoo closed his eyes. For a long moment, he did not speak. When he opened them again, they looked wet. I will tell you something. Something I should not tell you. But you found the marks. That means maybe you were supposed to find them. Hana waited. We were not always like this. Jinwoo said. Humans. We were not always slaves. 300 years ago, we had our own worlds. Our own ships. Our own empire among the stars. Hana's mouth fell open. That's not possible. The Vortons said. The Vortons lie. Jinwoo's voice turned hard. They conquered us. They took everything. Our planets, our technology, our freedom. But worse than that, they took our memory. They burned our books, destroyed our records, killed everyone who remembered the old ways. Now, most humans think this is all we ever were. Workers, slaves, animals. But we're not. No, we are not. Jinwoo reached into his shirt and pulled out a small piece of metal. Scratched on it were more symbols. There are some of us who remember, who keep the old knowledge alive. We are few. We are hunted, but we survive. What do the symbols mean? They are words. In the old human language, the language the Vortons forbid us to speak. Jinwoo pointed at different marks. This one means hope. This one means freedom. This one means remember. Hana touched the metal carefully. Why hide them in the mines? Because the Vortons do not come to the deep places. They do not dirty their claws with real work. The deep mines are ours. So we leave messages there, hoping someday someone will find them. Someone who still has fire in their heart. Tell me more. Tell me about before. Jinwoo smiled sadly. We were warriors, explorers, artists. We built cities that touched the clouds. We made machines that could think. We traveled between stars like you walk between tunnels. We were magnificent. What happened? How did they beat us? That is a long story. But I will tell you the important part. They did not beat us in fair combat. They used a weapon. A terrible weapon. It put our greatest protector to sleep. Without that protector, we could not win. We fought for 10 years. We lost. What protector? Jinwoo leaned closer. We called it the Sleeper now. But before, it had another name. Ares Prime. Our war god. A machine and a warrior and a legend all combined. When it fought, we could not lose. So the Vortons did not fight it. They found a way to shut it down. To trap it. In sleep. Hana felt something stir in her chest. Something that felt like anger and hope mixed together. Where is it now? The sleeper? Hidden. Waiting. The Vortons fear it even in sleep. That is why they work so hard to make us forget. Because if we remember, we might find it. And if we find it, we might wake it. A loud bang echoed through the quarters. Voices shouted in the Vorton language. Heavy footsteps approached. Jinwoo's face went pale. They know. Someone saw us. The closet door exploded open. 2 Vortan guards stood there, their scales gleaming in the harsh light. Their eyes were yellow and cold. One of them grabbed Jinwoo and dragged him out. No! Hana lunged forward, but the second guard hit her with the back of his hand. She fell hard against the wall. Overseer Kelthar appeared in the doorway. He was larger than most Vortons, with scars across his snout. He looked at Hana with something like amusement. Found yourself a storyteller, little human? His voice sounded like gravel grinding. Did he fill your head with fantasies? Did he tell you lies about your past? Win. I. Win. I. Win. Please don't hurt him, Hana said. He didn't do anything wrong. Kelthar laughed. He taught you forbidden things. That is the worst crime. He turned to the guards. Take him to the execution yard. Public display tomorrow morning. Let the others see what happens to those who remember. They dragged Jinwoo away. He did not struggle. He just looked at Hana one last time and mouthed a single word. She could not hear it, but she read his lips. Remember. Kelthar stepped closer to Hana. You will watch tomorrow. You will see what happens. And you will forget everything he told you. Or you will join him. Then he was gone. The door slammed shut. Hana sat in the dark closet, her face throbbing where the guard hit her. But the pain did not matter. All she could think about were Jinwoo's words. The symbols in the mine, the sleeper waiting somewhere in the dark. She touched the wall and whispered to herself, so quietly only she could hear. I will remember. I promise. I will remember everything. Outside, the night continued. The mines never stopped working. Somewhere above, Do-hyun would be finishing his shift. He would hear about Jinwoo. He would worry about Hana, but Hana was done being afraid. Something had changed in her when she touched those symbols. When she heard the truth, humans were not animals. They were not born to be slaves. They were warriors, and somewhere out there, their war god slept. Tomorrow, she would watch Jinwoo die. But she would not let his memory die with him. The rebellion had not started yet. But in her heart, Hana felt the first spark catch fire. The execution happened at dawn. The Vortons made everyone watch. 2,000 humans stood in the assembly yard, while Overseer Kelthar read the charges against Jinwoo. Spreading forbidden knowledge, teaching prohibited history, corrupting young workers. Hana stood in the front row. Do-hyun tried to pull her back, to hide her in the crowd, but she refused. She owed Jinwoo this much. To witness. To remember. Jinwoo stood on the platform with his hands bound. He looked small and old in the harsh morning light. But when his eyes found Hana in the crowd, he smiled. Not a sad smile. A smile of hope. The execution was quick. One blast from a plasma rifle. Jinwoo fell. His body was dragged away to be incinerated with the daily waste. Kelthar addressed the crowd. This is what happens to those who forget their place. You are workers. Nothing more. Accept this truth and live. Reject it and die. The humans were sent back to work. No one spoke. No one cried. Showing emotion meant you cared about the criminal. Caring meant you might share his ideas. Better to look blank. Better to survive. But Hana did not feel blank. She felt hollow and burning at the same time. That night, she could not sleep. She lay on her mat and traced the symbols Jinwoo had shown her on the scrap of metal. She had hidden it in her boot before the guards searched her. Hope. Freedom. Remember. She needed to find others. Jinwoo said there were more who remembered. But how could she find them without getting caught? The answer came 3 days later. A new worker arrived in her section, a young woman, maybe 22 years old. Her name was Minji. She had been transferred from the administrative complex where the Vortans kept their records and computers. Transfers from admin to mines were punishment. Minji must have done something wrong. Hana watched her during the shifts. Minji worked efficiently, but her eyes were always moving. Always watching. Like she was looking for something. On the 5th day, during the meal break, Minji sat next to Hana. The cafeteria was loud, with the sound of hundreds of humans eating their rations. Good place for a quiet conversation. You found something in Tunnel 12, Minji said without looking at her. Old marks on the walls. Hana's heart jumped. She said nothing. Jinwoo told you things before they killed him. Things about the old days. About the sleeper. How do you know that? Hana whispered. Because I am a rememberer. Minji took a bite of her food. To anyone watching, they were just two workers eating. We have people everywhere. In the mines, in the factories, even in the Vortan buildings. We keep the truth alive. Jin Woo was one of you. Yes. And now he is dead because he was careless. Because he thought you could be trusted. Minji finally looked at her. Can you be? Yes. Saying yes is easy. Proving it is harder. Minji slipped something under Hana's tray. Tonight. Maintenance level. Section 4. Come. Alone. Before Hana could respond, Minji stood and walked away. That night, Hana told Do-hyun she felt sick and needed to visit the medical station. He did not believe her. But he did not stop her either. He just squeezed her hand and said, "Be careful." Maintenance level 4 was deep below the sleep quarters. The air was hot from the geothermal processors. Pipes ran along the ceiling, dripping condensation. Hana walked through the maze of corridors until she found the spot Minji mentioned. A door stood slightly open. Hana pushed through. Inside was a small room filled with people. Maybe 20 humans, all different ages. Some she recognized from the mines. Others were strangers. They all turned to look at her. Minji stepped forward. "Everyone, this is Hana." She found the marks in Tunnel 12. Jinwoo spoke to her before he died. A tall man moved to the front. He was older, maybe 40, with gray in his hair. His face was scarred badly on one side. His eyes were hard, but not cruel. "My name is Taeyang," he said. "I lead the Rememberers on Culver 7. Jinwoo was my friend. He believed you could help us. I want to know why." Hana pulled out the metal scrap from her boot. "He gave me this. He told me we were not always slaves. He told me about Ares Prime. About the sleeper." Taeyang took the metal and examined it. Jinwoo was supposed to wait, supposed to watch you longer before making contact. But he was old and he was dying. The Vortons were poisoning him slowly. He knew he had little time. Poisoning him? Why? Because he was in their records. He fought in the last war. He was a soldier in the human defense fleet before we fell. The Vortans keep all the old soldiers under watch. They poison them to make sure they die before they can organize resistance. Another person stepped forward. A woman with sharp eyes and quick movements. "I am Yuna. I study languages. Old human languages." She looked at the symbols on the metal. "These are real. Ancient writing from before the conquest. Most humans could not read these, even if they wanted to. The knowledge is almost lost." "Almost?" Hana asked. "We have fragments. Pieces of the old language scattered across 12 colony worlds. The Vortons destroyed most records. But they could not destroy everything. Some things survived in deep places, in forgotten corners. We have been collecting them for 50 years. Taeyang gestured to a table in the corner. On it were dozens of scraps. Metal pieces, stone fragments, even bits of old plastic, all covered in symbols. "We have been trying to reconstruct something," he said. "A verse, a summoning." Jinwoo believed it was the key to waking the sleeper. Hana moved closer. "You know where it is? Where the sleeper waits?" "Well, no, but we know how to call it, or we almost know. The verse is incomplete. We have found pieces on 6 worlds, but there are 12 colony worlds total. We believe each world holds one fragment. United together, they form the complete summoning." A younger man spoke up. He was maybe 16, with nervous energy. "I am Ki-hyun. I work in communications. I hacked the Vortan network 3 months ago. Found old archives, they thought, were deleted. Files from the conquest. They mentioned something called the Vanquisher Protocol. The weapon they used to put Ares Prime to sleep. Note. What kind of weapon? Hana asked. Not a bomb or a gun. Something else. Something that attacks consciousness itself. Ares Prime was not just a machine. It was alive. Aware. The Vortons could not kill it, so they made it sleep, forced it into a kind of coma. Minji joined them at the table. I stole more files last week before they transferred me here. The Vortons are terrified of Ares Prime, even after 3 centuries. They built their entire empire on keeping it asleep. Every year, they send inspections to the hidden location. They check that it is still dormant. So they know where it is, Hana said. Yes. But they will never tell. The location is known only to their highest leaders. Revealing it would be treason in their empire. Taeyang placed his hand on the table. This is why we need the verse. We cannot find Ares Prime by searching. The galaxy is too vast, but if we speak the summoning correctly, the sleeper will hear us. Yuna spread out the fragments. Look at what we have. Each piece contains words in the old tongue. We have been trying to arrange them in the right order. But without all 12 pieces, we cannot complete it. And we cannot be sure we have the order right. Hana studied the symbols. They looked similar to what she saw in the mine, but more complex, more deliberate. How do we get the other pieces? Grote. That is the problem, Taeyang said. The Vortons are becoming suspicious. They noticed too many humans asking questions about the past. Last month, they purged 3 colony worlds, killed anyone, showing signs of historical curiosity. 2 of our Rememberer groups were wiped out. We lost 50 people and 2 fragments. The room fell silent. The weight of those words pressed down on everyone. Minji broke the silence. It gets worse. I saw new orders before they transferred me. The Vortons are planning a massive purge across all 12 worlds. They want to eliminate the remaining humans who might remember the old ways. The purge starts in 2 months. 2 months to find 6 fragments across 6 different worlds, Ki-hyun said. That is impossible. Then we do the impossible. Hana surprised herself with the strength in her voice. Jinwoo died, showing me the truth. I will not let that mean nothing. Jinwoo. Taeyang studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. All right. We try. But this will be dangerous. Many of us will die. We are already dead, an older woman said from the back. We are slaves. We live only to work. At least, this way, we die for something real. Others murmured agreement. Taeyang laid out a plan. They would send teams to the other 6 colony worlds. Small groups, moving quietly. They would find the local rememberers and search for the fragments. Everything had to happen before the purge. We need transportation, Minji said. Ships. The Vortons control all space travel. A new voice spoke from the doorway. I can help with that. Everyone turned. A man walked in, young and confident. His clothes were different. Not mine, worker gray. He wore the brown uniform of the pilot crews. My name is Hyunwoo. I fly supply ships between colonies. I can smuggle people. He looked at Taeyang. I have been waiting for you to contact me. I want to fight. Another woman stepped forward. She was muscular, with burns on her arms. I am Unji. I work in the engineering bays. I can modify equipment, make weapons from tools. If you need arms, I can provide them. Taeyang smiled for the first time. It seems Jinwoo's death woke something in people. We have more volunteers now than ever. Over the next hour, they planned. Teams were formed. Routes were mapped. Each person took an assignment. Hana was assigned to travel to Vortan 3. The industrial world. Minji would go with her. Their job was to find the rememberers there and locate the 3rd fragment. As the meeting ended and people filtered out, Taeyang pulled Hana aside. Jinwoo saw something in you. I do not know what, but he was never wrong about people. He handed her a small weapon, a plasma cutter modified to work as a gun. Learn to use this. Where you are going, you will need it. I do not know how to fight. Then learn quickly. The Vortans will not show mercy Neither can we. Hana took the weapon. It felt heavy in her hand. She thought about Jinwoo falling on the execution platform, about the thousands of humans who died in silence over 3 centuries. When do we leave? 3 days. Hyunwoo will take you on a supply run. Once there, you are on your own. Hana nodded. 3 days to prepare. 3 days before everything changed. That night, she returned to her quarters. Do-hyun was waiting. He saw the weapon hidden in her clothes. Hana, what are you doing? She told him everything. About the rememberers, about the plan, about the verse that could wake their war god. Do-hyun listened in silence. When she finished, he pulled her into a hug. You are going to get yourself killed. Maybe. But I have to try. He held her tighter. Then I am coming with you. No. You need to stay here. Keep your position. Protect the others when the purge comes. I am supposed to protect you. You have. My whole life. Now let me protect everyone else. Do-hyun released her. His eyes were wet. Promise me. You will be careful. I promise. It was a lie. There was no being careful in what came next. But it was a kind lie. The kind that let them both sleep. 3 days later, Hana boarded Hyunwoo's ship with Minji and 2 others. As they lifted off from Kolvar 7, she looked down at the mining complex. Somewhere down there, Do-hyun was working his shift. Somewhere down there, Jinwoo's ashes had been scattered with the waste, but she was not looking back anymore. She was looking forward, to the fragments, to the verse, to the sleeping god that would wake and set them free. The war had not started yet. But Hana could feel it coming, like thunder in the distance, like fire waiting to catch, and she was ready to burn. The ship shook as it entered atmosphere. Hana gripped the seat restraints and tried not to show her fear. She had never been in space before. The view from the window was terrifying and beautiful at once. Stars everywhere. Darkness that went on forever. Hyunwoo piloted with steady hands. Vorton 3 coming up. Industrial world. Factories everywhere. Good news is that means lots of places to hide. Bad news is that means lots of guards. Minji checked her data pad. Our contact is named Somin. She works in the metal processing plant on the North Continent. She will meet us at the landing bay. They landed without incident. The Vortons barely looked at them. Supply ships came and went all the time. 3 humans unloading cargo was nothing unusual. But once they left the landing bay and entered the city, Hana understood the danger. Vorton 3 was different from Kolvar 7. The mines were brutal but simple. Here, everything was watched. Cameras on every corner. Guards on every street. The Vortons did not trust their workers here. Somin met them in a warehouse district. She was young, maybe 20, with burn scars covering half her face. Factory accident, she explained. The Vortons did not waste medicine on cosmetic healing for humans. You came for the fragment, she said. Yes. Do you have it? Minji asked. No. But I know where it is. The problem is getting to it. Somin led them through narrow alleys to a safe house. Inside, 6 other humans waited. The rememberers of Vorton 3. They looked tired, afraid. An older man named Dae-hyun spoke first. The fragment is in the old city. Before the Vortons came, humans built a great city here. Beautiful buildings, art, culture. The Vortons destroyed most of it. But they kept one building standing. A museum. They use it to show other species what primitive creatures humans were. Our fragment is there. Hidden in plain sight. Hidden how? Hana asked. Somin pulled out a photograph. It showed a stone statue of a human warrior. This statue was made 300 years ago, right before the conquest. The artist carved the fragment into the base. The Vortons never noticed, because they cannot read our old language. To them, it is just decorative marks. So we steal the statue, Minji said. Not possible. The museum has heavy security. Sensors, guards, cameras, everywhere. And the statue weighs 2 tons. We cannot move it. Then we copy the symbols. Photograph them. Also, not possible. All devices are scanned at the entrance. No cameras allowed. No recording equipment. Hana studied the photograph. Then someone has to memorize it. Go inside. See the symbols. Remember them. Come out. Everyone looked at her. That someone would need perfect memory, Daehyun said. The symbols are complex. Dozens of them. One mistake, and the verse will not work. I can do it, Hana said. Jinwoo taught me memory techniques. Old human methods. I can remember. 2. 2. 2. 2. Minji frowned. Even if you memorize the symbols, getting into the museum is dangerous. They allow humans inside only as janitors, and those positions are carefully controlled. Then I become a janitor. Over the next 3 days, they prepared. Salmon forged work documents. Daehyun taught Hana the routes inside the museum. Minji drilled her on memory exercises. On the 4th day, Hana entered the museum wearing janitor gray. Her heart pounded so hard she thought the guards would hear it, but they barely looked at her. Just another human worker. Just another slave. The museum was large and cold. Exhibits showed human history as the Vortons wanted it told. Primitive tools. Simple art. A story of a species that never achieved greatness. Never deserved freedom. Hana walked through the halls, pushing her cleaning cart. She passed Vorton visitors who pointed at the displays and laughed. Looked at those humans. So primitive. So lucky. The Empire gave them purpose. She wanted to scream, to tell them the truth, but she kept her head down and kept moving. The statue stood in the center hall. The human warrior looked proud. Strong. One hand reached toward the sky. The other held a sword. At the base, carved into the stone, were the symbols. Hana began cleaning the floor around the statue. Slowly, carefully, she studied each symbol, burned them into her memory. The curves, the angles, the order. She repeated them in her mind over and over. 15 minutes. That was all the time she had before it would look suspicious. 15 minutes to memorize 36 complex symbols in a dead language. She was on her 12th symbol when alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Guards shouted. Hana's blood turned cold. Had they caught her? Had someone reported her? No. The guards were not looking at her. They were running toward the entrance. Something was happening outside. Through the windows, Hana saw smoke, fire. An explosion in the factory district. Minji, the others. They had created a distraction. With the guards distracted, Hana had more time. She memorized the rest of the symbols. Checked them twice. Committed them perfectly to memory. Then she abandoned her cleaning cart and walked quickly toward the exit. The museum was in chaos. More guards arrived. Visitors were being evacuated. No one noticed one human worker leaving. Outside, the factory district burned. Hana ran toward the safe house, staying in the shadows. Behind her, sirens wailed. The Vortons were responding in force. She made it to the safe house. Burst through the door. Salmon was there, bleeding from her shoulder. Daehyun was bandaging another rememberer who had been shot in the leg. Minji sat at the table, her hands shaking. We set the explosion, Minji said. Hoped it would pull the guards away from the museum. Did it work? Yes. I have the symbols. All of them. Hana grabbed paper and began drawing. Her hands moved fast, reproducing each symbol exactly as she remembered it. Daehyun watched over her shoulder. Amazing. You really memorized all of this? Jinwoo taught me well. She finished the last symbol and sat back. The third fragment. They had it, but the victory was short. Salmon looked at the news on a stolen Vorton datapad. Her face went pale. They know. The Vortans know something is happening. They are calling it a rebellion. They are moving up the purge. How much time? Minji asked. 2 weeks. Maybe less. They are sending hunter squads to all 12 colonies. Orders are to eliminate any human showing signs of organized resistance. Hana felt sick. The other teams. We have to warn them. Hyunwoo had stayed with the ship. They contacted him through a secure channel. He had bad news. I have been monitoring Vortan communications. 6 teams went to the 6 remaining colonies. 2 teams have already reported success. They found their fragments. But 3 teams have gone silent. No contact in 2 days. I think they were caught. I, and the 6th team? Hana asked. Still searching. They are on Talvor 9. The ice world. The fragment there is harder to reach. Minji made a decision. We go to Talvor 9. Help them find the fragment. That gives us 6 fragments total. Maybe enough to attempt the summoning. Yuna said we need all 12, Hana argued. Yuna also said she might be able to reconstruct the missing pieces if she has enough of the verse to see the pattern. 6 fragments might be enough. It has to be enough. We are out of time. Also. 80. 17-2. 80. Also. 17-2. They fled Vortan 3 that night. Behind them, the Vortans were arresting hundreds of humans. Anyone who worked near the museum. Anyone who looked suspicious. The rememberers of Vortan 3 scattered. Some would survive. Most would not. Talvor 9 was a frozen hell. The colony there mined ice for water extraction. Humans worked in temperatures that would kill most species. The Vortans engineered humans to survive it. But survival did not mean comfort. It meant endless suffering in the cold. The team there had been searching for weeks. The fragment was supposedly in an old human settlement buried under 200 meters of ice. The settlement was from before the conquest. The Vortans had not destroyed it. They had just built over it. Forgotten it. Hana, Minji, and Hyunwoo met the team leader. His name was Woobin. He looked exhausted. We found the settlement. Found the fragment. But we cannot reach it. There is a Vortan military base directly above. Going down means drilling through the ice. But the drilling will be detected. They will know we are there. Then we make them look somewhere else, Hyunwoo said. Another distraction. No. Hana shook her head. No more distractions. People are dying for those distractions. There has to be another way. They studied the maps. Argued about options. Time was running out. Every day, more rememberers were caught. More fragments were lost as the purge intensified. Finally, Yoonji came up with a plan. She had traveled to Talvor 9 with them, bringing her modified equipment. We drill fast. Very fast. I can rig the drilling machine to cut through the ice in 2 hours instead of 2 days. It will be loud. They will hear it. But if we time it during a supply ship landing, the noise might be masked enough to buy us time. 2 hours is not enough to get in and out, Woobin said. Then we do not get out. We get the fragment. We transmit the symbols to the other teams. Then we run. It was a suicide mission. Everyone knew it. Hyunwoo volunteered to pilot the drilling machine. Eunji went with him to keep the equipment running. Woobin and 2 others would go down into the settlement. Hana wanted to go too, but Minji stopped her. You carry the other fragments in your memory. If you die, they die too. You have to survive. The operation began at dawn. A supply ship landed at the military base, its engines roaring. Under that cover, Eunji started drilling. The drill screamed through the ice. Chunks flew everywhere. Deeper and deeper. Hana watched from a hidden position, a kilometer away. Every second felt like an hour. The Vortans noticed after 20 minutes. Alarms sounded. Guards mobilized. But by then, the drill had reached the settlement. Wubin and his team descended on cables. Hana listened to their communications. Wubin's voice came through. Excited. "We found it! The fragment is here! I am copying the symbols now." "Ru! Hurry!" Unji shouted. "They are coming! I can see their vehicles! Almost done." Just a few more. The transmission cut off. Gunfire. Screaming. Hana's hands clenched. No, 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 no. Static. Then Wubin's voice. Weak. Sending. The fragment. Now. Tell the others. We did it. Tell them. Tell them. Tell them. The transmission ended. Minji checked her datapad. "We received it. The symbols came through. We have the fragment." Tears ran down Hana's face. 6 people had just died. For symbols. For hope. For a chance. They fled Talvor 9 on Hyunwoo's ship. Behind them, the Vortons locked down the entire colony. They executed 200 humans in retaliation. Workers who had nothing to do with the operation. Innocent people. But the fragments were secured. 6 of 12. Yuna worked for 3 days straight, trying to reconstruct the missing pieces. She studied patterns, analyzed the language structure, made educated guesses. On the 3rd day, she called everyone together. "I have it. The complete verse. Or, as complete as I can make it. I am 70% certain of the accuracy." 70%? Taeyang looked grim. "What happens if we are wrong? I do not know." "Maybe nothing. Maybe something worse than nothing." "Do we have a choice?" Hana asked. No one answered. The purge was accelerating. Every day, more colonies went dark. The Vortons were not just killing rememberers anymore. They were killing anyone who might become one. Entire populations sterilized. They gathered on an abandoned orbital station. The last surviving rememberers from all 12 worlds. 50 people. That was all who remained. 50 humans who knew the truth. Yuna prepared the verse. She wrote it out on a metal wall. 27 words in the old language. Each word, a command. A summons. A prayer. The last word was the key. The trigger. Yuna called it the forbidden word, because speaking it would either save humanity or doom what little remained. The word was Indomitus. Unconquered. But there was a problem. The verse required a blood key. Someone had to die, speaking the final word. Their death would power the summoning. Open the gate between the sleeper and the waking world. Taeyang volunteered immediately. But Yuna stopped him. "It cannot be you. It must be someone pure. Someone who still has hope. Not someone who has killed. Not someone who carries too much darkness." Everyone looked at Hana. She was 17 years old. She had never killed anyone. Despite everything she had seen, she still believed in something better. "I will do it," she said. "No," Minji grabbed her arm. "There has to be another way." "There is not. You know there is not." Do-hyun was not there. He had stayed on Kolvar 7. Hana was glad. She did not want him to see this. The Vortan battle fleet arrived 3 hours later. 40 ships. They had tracked the rememberers to the station. This was the end. Overseer Kelthar himself led the assault. He wanted to kill the rebels personally. The station shook as Vortan soldiers boarded. Gunfire echoed through the corridors. The rememberers fought back with their improvised weapons. They bought time. Hana stood in the central chamber. The verse glowed on the wall in front of her. She had memorized it. Every word. Every inflection. Minji stood beside her, crying. "You do not have to do this." "Yes, I do. Tell Do-hyun, I am sorry. Tell him yourself. Live. Find another way." But there was no other way. The Vortons were breaking through. She could hear Kelthar's voice, shouting orders. Hana began speaking the verse. Each word resonated in her chest. The station trembled. Reality trembled. She reached the final word. Kelthar burst into the chamber. His claws dripped with human blood. He saw Hana and smiled his terrible smile. There you are, little rebel. The one who started all of this. He lunged forward. But Hana was already speaking. The forbidden word left her lips. Indomitus. Light exploded. Not normal light. Something deeper. Something that existed before stars. Kelthar screamed and staggered back. The station ripped apart. The Vorton fleet outside scattered in panic. Hana fell. Blood poured from her wound. She was dying, but she saw it. Through the light. Through the tearing fabric of space. A figure. Vast. Terrible. Beautiful. The war god was awake. And it was coming. Light filled everything. Not the light of stars or suns. Something older. Something that existed when the universe was young and violent. Hana felt herself falling through that light. Her chest was torn open. Blood floated around her in zero gravity. She should be dead. She wanted to be dead. The pain was too much. But the light held her, wrapped around her like arms, like protection. A voice spoke. It was not sound. It was thought. It was feeling. It was rage and love and sorrow, all combined. I remember. The voice was everywhere and nowhere. It was the station. The space around the station. The atoms in Hana's body. I remember every chain, every lash, every cry. 300 years of silence. 300 years of sleep. No more. Hana tried to speak, but had no breath, no strength. You called me. You woke me. You gave your life for your people. This, I honor. The light focused, condensed, became something visible, something real. It was shaped like a human but larger. 3 meters tall. Its body was made of living metal that flowed like water and held firm like diamond. Its face was a warrior's death mask, beautiful and terrible. Its eyes burned with white fire. This was Ares Prime, the sleeper, humanity's war god. It reached toward Hana. One finger touched the wound in her chest. I give you what was taken. I give you life. Energy poured into her. Her wound closed. Her heart started beating stronger than before. Her lungs filled with air that tasted like lightning. Hana gasped and opened her eyes. She was alive. Impossibly alive. Ares Prime lowered her gently to the broken floor of the station. Around them, chaos reigned. The Rememberers stared in shock. The Vortan soldiers who had been attacking stopped. Some dropped their weapons. Some ran. Overseer Kelthar stood frozen. His yellow eyes were wide, with something humans had never seen on a Vortan face before. Fear. You, he whispered. You should be sleeping. The Vanquisher Protocol. We made sure. We checked every year. Ares Prime turned its burning gaze on him. Your Vanquisher Protocol was designed for a machine. I am not a machine. I am the will of humanity given form. I am every human who died in chains. I am every human who refused to break. I am vengeance. I am deliverance. I am ours. It raised one hand. The gesture was simple, almost gentle. Kelthar exploded into atoms, not burned, not torn apart, simply ceased to exist at the molecular level. The other Vorton soldiers screamed and fled. Ares Prime, let them go. It had bigger concerns. The Vortan battle fleet outside was regrouping. 40 warships, each one capable of destroying a planet. They opened fire on the station. Ares Prime walked to the shattered wall and stepped into space. It should have died instantly. No atmosphere, no pressure. But it did not need such things. It existed beyond physical laws. The Vortan weapons hit it. Plasma cannons, missile barrages, energy beams powerful enough to crack moons. All of it passed through Ares Prime like rain through fog. Then it struck back. Ares Prime did not have weapons. It was a weapon. It raised both hands, and reality bent. The nearest Vorton ship began to shake. Its hull rippled. Its structure came apart at the molecular level. In 10 seconds, the warship became raw materials. Refined metals. Pure elements. All floating in space. Ares Prime gestured again. The materials reformed. Not into a Vortan ship. Into something new. Something human. A blade. 50 meters long. Edged with energy that could cut through anything. The war god took the blade and moved. It did not fly. It simply was in one place, and then another. Crossing kilometers. In an instant, it cut through the second Vortan ship. The blade passed through the hull like it was paper. The remaining Vortan ships tried to retreat. But Ares Prime was faster. It moved between them like a dancer. Like a warrior. Each touch destroyed. Each gesture unmade. 15 ships became dust. 20 ships became raw material for new human weapons. The last 5 ships managed to jump to faster than light speed and escape. Ares Prime let them go. The war god was awake. And it was coming. Back on the station, the rememberers slowly approached. Minji helped Hana stand. The wound was completely healed. Not even a scar remained. You died, Minji whispered. I saw you die. I know. But it brought me back. Taeyang stepped forward. His face was wet with tears. Is it real? Is this real? Ares Prime returned to the station. It landed gently on the broken floor. When it spoke now, its voice was quieter, more human. I am real. I am what humans made 300 years ago when we faced extinction. Your ancestors took the consciousnesses of your greatest warriors. They merged them with quantum intelligence. They created me to protect humanity. I failed. I was put to sleep. But now, I am awake. And I will not fail again. Yuna approached cautiously. What are you going to do? I am going to free every human in every chain, in every colony in this empire. Then I am going to offer the Vortans a choice. Surrender or extinction. The Vortans will never surrender, Taeyang said. They built their entire empire on controlling us. Freeing us means their empire falls. Then it falls. Ares Prime's eyes burned brighter. I do not want to destroy them. I am not a weapon of genocide. But I will not allow slavery to continue. Not for one more day. It turned to Hana. You called me. You gave your life. I name you my voice. Through you, I will speak to humanity. Through you, humanity will speak to me. Will you accept this? Hana felt the weight of the question. This was bigger than her. Bigger than anything she imagined. But Jinwoo had died for this. Wubin and his team had died for this. Hundreds of rememberers had died for this. Yes, I accept. Ares Prime touched her forehead. Energy flowed between them. Hana gasped as information flooded her mind. Battle tactics. Strategic planning. The locations of every human colony. The strength of every Vorton military base. When it pulled back, she was different. Still herself. But more. Connected to something vast. Now we begin, Ares Prime said. It reached out to the destroyed Vortan ships. The raw materials responded. Metal flowed through space like water. Components assembled themselves. In minutes, 20 new ships formed. Human designs from before the conquest. Sleek. Deadly. Beautiful. These ships are for you. For the rememberers. You will go to the 12 colony worlds. You will speak to the enslaved humans. You will tell them the war god has awakened. Tell them to rise. Tell them freedom is coming. Hyunwoo walked forward. I am a pilot. I will fly. I am an engineer, Unji said. I will arm them. One by one, the rememberers volunteered. each one ready to carry the message, ready to fight. But Ares Prime had more to give. It placed a hand on each rememberer. Energy flowed into them. When it finished, they stood straighter, stronger. Their eyes glowed faintly. I have given you a gift: enhanced strength, faster reflexes, tactical awareness. You will need these things in the war to come. But remember, you are still human. You can still die. Fight smart. Fight together. The Rememberers boarded the new ships. They launched toward the 12 colony worlds. Hana stayed with Ares Prime. As its voice, her place was beside it. Where do we go? She asked. To Kolvar 7, your home. Where this began, we start there. The journey took 3 hours. The ship Ares Prime created for them moved faster than normal vessels. It bent space around itself. As they traveled, Ares Prime taught Hana. Not just tactics, not just strategy. It taught her the truth of its existence. I am not one mind, it explained. I am thousands. Every warrior who gave their consciousness to create me. They are all still here, all still aware. We speak with one voice, but we are many. Do they remember their old lives? Yes. We remember being human. Remember family, love, fear. That is why we fight. Not because we are programmed to, but because we choose to. Because we know what it means to be enslaved, and we will die before we allow it to continue. They arrived at Kolvar 7 to find chaos. The Vortan purge was in full effect. Thousands of humans were being rounded up. Execution squads worked through the mining complexes. Do-Hyun was in one of those complexes. Hana could feel it. The connection to Ares Prime let her sense where humans were suffering. My brother is down there. They are going to kill him. Then we stop them. Ares Prime's ship descended like a meteor. It crashed through the roof of the main execution yard, where Vortons had lined up 2,000 humans for mass execution. The Vortons turned in shock. Their weapons raised. Ares Prime stepped out of the ship. It looked at the assembled Vortons, at the terrified humans, at the executioners with their rifles ready. It spoke. Its voice carried across the entire complex. Every speaker, every communication device, every Vortan ear. I am Ares Prime. I am humanity's war god. You have enslaved my people for 300 years. This ends now. Release them, or face extinction. The Vortan commander laughed. You are one entity. We are thousands. We have fleets. We have armies. What can one machine do? Ares Prime showed them. It raised one hand. Every weapon in the complex stopped working. Plasma rifles went cold. Tanks shut down. Security systems failed. Then it raised the other hand. Every mining machine, every industrial tool, every piece of equipment activated. They rose into the air. Metal twisted and reformed. In seconds, 2,000 weapons appeared. They floated down to the enslaved humans. I give you the tools of your liberation. Take them. Rise. You are slaves no more. The humans stared. Then one woman reached out and took a weapon. Then another. Then another. Do-Hyun was among them. His eyes found Hana standing beside Ares Prime. His face showed confusion, wonder, hope. Hana, how are you here? I thought you were dead. I was. But I came back. We all came back. Now fight, brother. Fight for everyone we lost. The humans rose. 2,000 enslaved workers, with improvised weapons, against Vortan soldiers. It should have been a massacre. But Ares Prime had given them more than weapons. It gave them enhanced strength. It gave them courage. It gave them 300 years of suppressed rage. The battle was brutal but short. The Vortons fell. Those who could, fled. By nightfall, Kolvar 7 was free, the first colony to throw off its chains. Hana walked through the celebrations. Humans crying, laughing, embracing. They could not believe it was real. Do-hyun found her. He pulled her into a hug so tight she could barely breathe. You did this. You made this happen. Not me. All of us. Every rememberer who died. Every human who refused to forget. We did this. Together. But the celebration was short. News arrived from other colonies. The war had truly begun. Vorton fleets were mobilizing. 10,000 warships. They were not going to give up their empire without a fight. Eris Prime stood on the highest tower of the mining complex. It looked up at the stars. Hana joined it. Can we win? There are so many of them. Numbers do not matter. Will matters. They fight for conquest, for power. We fight for freedom, for survival. That makes us stronger. But you said you do not want genocide. What happens if they refuse to surrender? Ares Prime was silent for a long time. Then I will show them mercy anyway. I will destroy their fleets, break their military, but I will spare their civilians. I will give them the choice to change, to build something better, because that is what separates us from them. We remember what it means to be better. Ask. Far above, in the dark of space, the Vorton Empire prepared for war. Their emperor, ancient and cruel, activated his final contingency. If he could not have humanity as slaves, he would destroy humanity completely. The battle for Earth was coming, and with it, the fate of every human in the galaxy would be decided. The message arrived on every human colony at once. Not through computers or radios. It came directly into the minds of every human connected to Ares Prime. Millions of voices speaking as one. Earth. They are going to destroy Earth. Hana felt the message like a punch to her chest. Earth. The homeworld. The place where humanity began. For 300 years, it had been quarantined. Forbidden. The Vortons claimed it was contaminated. Uninhabitable. But Ares Prime knew the truth. Humans still lived on Earth. Hidden in deep bunkers. In underwater cities. In mountain fortresses. They had survived, waiting for the day when their people would return. Now the Vortans planned to kill them all. Emperor Vorthul himself led the armada. 10,000 warships. Enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. Enough hate to burn a world. How long until they reach Earth? Hana asked. Ares Prime's eyes dimmed slightly. 30 hours. We are 3 days away. Even at maximum speed. Then we will not make it in time. No, not all of us. But I can. Ares Prime turned to the freed humans of Kolvar 7. Thousands stood in the mining complex, looking up at their war god. I must go ahead. I must reach Earth before the Vorton fleet. But I cannot leave you defenseless. The Empire will strike back at these colonies. You must be ready. Known. 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 It raised both hands. Energy poured out like a river of light. Every freed human felt it wash over them. Strength, knowledge, the ability to fight, the courage to stand. I leave you with this gift. Use it well. Protect each other. And when I return, we will build something better than what was taken from us. Then Ares Prime dissolved into light and vanished. Hana felt the connection stretch but not break. She could still sense it. Feel its purpose, its rage, its hope. Do-hyun stood beside her. What do we do now? We prepare. The Vortons will come. We need to be ready. The next 30 hours were chaos. On all 12 colonies, freed humans organized. They turned mines into fortresses, factories into armories. Ares Prime had shown them how to reshape matter, how to build weapons from tools. They worked with desperate speed. Minji coordinated communications between colonies. Taeyang organized defense strategies. Hyunwoo trained pilots on the new ships. Eunji weaponized everything she could find. Meanwhile, Ares Prime traveled alone through the void. It moved faster than light, faster than thought. It bent space around itself and crossed impossible distances. But even with its power, Earth was far. The Vortans had chosen their moment well. The colonies were on the opposite side of the galaxy from the homeworld. 28 hours after leaving Kolvar 7, Ares Prime detected the Vortan fleet. They had already arrived at Earth's system, already begun their bombardment. Ares Prime pushed harder. Space screamed around it. Reality cracked and healed and cracked again. It arrived to find Earth burning. The Vortan fleet formed a sphere around the planet. Thousands of ships firing down at the surface. The continents glowed with impact fires. The oceans boiled. But something was wrong. The Vortans should have destroyed Earth in minutes. Instead, they were struggling. Ares Prime looked closer and saw why. Earth had defenses. Ships rose from hidden bases to engage the Vortans. Not ancient ships. New designs. Weapons the Vortans had never seen before. The humans of Earth had not been hiding. They had been preparing. A communication channel opened. A woman's voice. Strong. Confident. Unknown entity. This is Admiral Nari of the Earth Defense Fleet. Identify yourself. Ares Prime felt something it had not felt in 300 years. Joy. I am Ares Prime. I am the sleeper awakened. I am humanity's protector. I have returned. Silence. Then the woman laughed. Not a cruel laugh. A laugh of relief. Of hope. Realized. By the stars. By the stars. It is true. The legends were true. You are real. I am real. And I am here to help. Then help us. We have 50 million people on this planet. We have been waiting 300 years for our people to return. We will not let the Vortans take that from us. Ares Prime entered the battle like a storm. It did not destroy ships one at a time. It destroyed them in groups. A gesture unmade 100 vessels. A thought turned Vortan weapons into dead metal. The tide turned instantly. The Earth fleet pressed forward. Vortan ships began to retreat. But Emperor Vorthul would not allow it. His flagship was massive. 10 kilometers long. A flying fortress. It had weapons that could destroy moons. He activated the Vanquisher Protocol. The original device. The weapon that put Ares Prime to sleep 300 years ago. A wave of energy pulsed from the flagship. It hit Ares Prime like a hammer. Pain. Actual pain. The war god felt its consciousness fracture. The thousands of minds that made up its being began to separate. To fall back into sleep. No, not again. Ares Prime fought back. But the Vanquisher Protocol was powerful. It was designed specifically to attack consciousness. To force awareness into dormancy. On Earth, Admiral Nari watched in horror as Ares Prime began to fade. To lose coherence. We have to help it. Target the Emperor's flagship. All weapons. The Earth fleet fired. But the flagship's shields were too strong. The weapons bounced off. Harmlessly. Ares Prime was losing. It could feel itself slipping. The sleep calling. The darkness reaching. Then it felt something else. Voices. Millions of them. Not from Earth, from the colonies. Every freed human spoke at once. Every worker who broke their chains. Every slave who rose. They spoke the forbidden word. Indomitus, Indomitus, Indomitus. The word crossed the galaxy. Not through space. Through the connection Ares Prime had with every human it touched. Power flowed back. Not from one source. From millions. The collective will of humanity, refusing to be enslaved again. Ares Prime's form solidified, grew brighter, larger. It was no longer just the consciousness of ancient warriors. It was every human who chose freedom. Every person who said no to oppression. It looked at Vorthul's flagship and spoke. You made a mistake. You thought I was one being, one mind. But I am millions. I am every human who refuses to kneel. Your weapon cannot put that to sleep. Ares Prime moved. It crossed the distance to the flagship in an instant. It placed both hands on the hull. The ship did not explode. It did not come apart. It simply stopped. Vorthul and his crew floated in the sudden silence. Ares Prime's voice filled their minds. I give you a choice. Surrender your empire. Release every enslaved species. Face justice for your crimes. Or die here, in the dark. Vorthul's pride would not allow surrender. He activated the self-destruct, tried to take Ares Prime with him in death, but Ares Prime was faster. It pulled Vorthul and every crew member off the ship in a second, held them in bubbles of force while the flagship exploded. Then it brought them down to Earth's surface. Admiral Nari was waiting. She stood in the ruins of New York. The city had been beautiful once. Now it was broken. But humans lived here still. Rebuilding. Surviving. Ares Prime placed the Vortan prisoners before her. I leave them to humanity's justice. Not revenge. Justice. There is a difference. Nari looked at Vorthul. The emperor who enslaved billions, who ordered the deaths of trillions. He looked small now. Pathetic. We will give them a fair trial. We will show them the mercy they never showed us. Because that is what separates us from them. The remaining Vortan fleet retreated. Their emperor captured. Their greatest weapon defeated. They fled to their home systems to regroup. But the war was not over. It had just begun. Over the next weeks, the Vortan Empire collapsed. Not because of military defeat alone. Because the other enslaved species saw what humanity did. Saw that freedom was possible. Revolts erupted on 1,000 worlds. The empire that ruled through fear found that fear could only last so long. Ares Prime traveled to each liberated world. It helped. It protected. But it did not conquer. It did not rule. I am not here to build a new empire, it told the freed species. I am here to ensure you stay free. What you build after is your choice. Hana worked alongside Admiral Nari to organize the Free Worlds Coalition. 50 species who chose freedom over slavery. They were not always friends. They argued. They disagreed. But they were free to do so. That was what mattered. 5 years after the awakening, Hana stood in the Great Hall on Earth. It was newly built. A place where representatives from all free worlds could meet. She was 32 now. The girl who worked in the mines was gone. In her place stood someone stronger. Wiser. She had been elected Chancellor of Free Humanity. Do-hyun was there too. He led the Earth Defense Fleet now. A military, not for conquest, but for protection. Minji ran the intelligence network. Taeyang trained new soldiers. Hyunwoo commanded the transport fleet. Eunji designed new technologies for peaceful purposes. All the rememberers who survived found their places. They built the new world they dreamed of in the darkness. But Hana knew the work was not finished. The Vortan remnants still existed. They had retreated to their core worlds. They were rebuilding, planning, and beyond known space, sensors detected something. A new empire, larger than the Vortans, more aggressive. War was coming again. 50 years after the awakening, Hana was old, her hair white, her face lined with age. But her eyes still burned with the same fire. She stood before a memorial wall. Names carved in stone. Every human who died in slavery. Every rememberer who fell in the revolution. Jinwoo, Woobin, Saman, thousands of others. Young humans walked past. Free humans. Born into a world without chains. They did not understand what it was like before. How could they? But Hana made sure they learned. Made sure they remembered. A young girl approached. Maybe 10 years old. She looked at the memorial wall with curiosity. "Are these all heroes?" she asked. "Yes, all of them." "Why did they die?" "Because they chose to fight rather than live as slaves. Because they believed freedom was worth dying for." The girl considered this. "Are we safe now? Will the bad aliens come back?" Before Hana could answer, a shadow fell over them. She looked up. Ares Prime stood there. It was always there, always watching. In 50 years, it never rested, never slept. It kept its promise. "We are safe," Hana told the girl. An alarm sounded in the distance. Hana's communication device activated. It was Do Hyun. "Hana, we have a problem." Long-range sensors detected a massive fleet, unknown origin. "They are heading toward our outer colonies." Hana smiled. Not with joy. With readiness. "How many ships?" "Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. They sent a message. They demand our surrender. They say resistance is futile." The young girl looked frightened. "What do we do?" Hana knelt down to her level. Looked her in the eyes. "We do what humans always do. We fight. We survive. We refuse to give up. We are indomitus. Unconquered." Ares Prime's eyes glowed brighter. It spoke, and its voice carried across the city, across the planet, across every free world. "A new enemy comes. They believe we will surrender because we are small, because we are few. They do not understand. We are humanity. We have been enslaved and broken and scattered. But we rose. We fought. We won. And we will do it again. Prepare for war. Prepare to show them what it means to face those who refuse to kneel." The Free Worlds Coalition mobilized. Ships launched. Soldiers prepared. Defenses activated. Hana walked to the command center with Do Hyun and the others. She was old, but not finished. Not yet. The stars had belonged to tyrants once, to empires built on slavery and fear. Now they belonged to those who chose freedom, who fought for it, who bled for it. The new enemy would learn what the Vortons learned, what every tyrant eventually learned. Humanity could be conquered, could be enslaved, could be scattered, but humanity could never be broken. Not while one voice still spoke the forbidden word, not while one heart still refused to kneel. Indomitus, now and forever. The battle began. The stars lit up with weapons fire. And humanity, as always, survived. Because that was what humans did. They endured, they adapted, they rose, and when the universe pushed them down, they pushed back harder. The story was not over. It would never be over. As long as one human drew breath, the fight for freedom continued. Hana stood at the command center and watched the battle unfold. She thought of Jinwoo, of all those who died to make this moment possible, and she smiled. They had won. Not just the war. They had won the right to exist, to be free, to choose their own path. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Indomitus rising, forever rising. The end of slavery was just the beginning of freedom.